Okay, again, I have the same shirt as the football one because I'm uh, recording this after it. But yeah, for F1, it was a very shit weekend, to be honest. The only thing that I didn't slept through was the first qualifying. That I watched that fully, and then I tried to watch that shootout qualifying. I slept in the middle of it. I tried to watch sprint race. I slept in the middle of it. I had great sleep. I think I should give credit to F1 that I have an issue with sleeping. It takes time for me to sleep, but watching F1 really made me sleep immediately. And race also, after like 10-20 laps, I again went to sleep. And to be clear, I have watched the Australian Grand Prix with like no sleep. And and for the Azerbaijan GP, every day I had like 12 hours of sleep, and I still couldn't be able to stay awake during the GP. The most entertaining thing about the GP was the fact that Alonso is rumored to be with Taylor Swift, and that was the main. There is great, biggest, most high level engineered cars with almost perfect aerodynamics going around a track, perfection of engineering, and the most entertaining thing that was happening was Alonso and Taylor Swift. That's how boring it was. Like, there is a thing which people ignore and which F1 don't recognize, is that I watch sports because there is some any match. It The important thing that I don't know the result, and there's some jeopardy in it. That if there's a sprint race, if George Russell makes a mistake, he's going to pay for it. I don't care if George Russell finishes fourth in the sprint race. Why would I watch it if it doesn't have any effect in the main race? Like, do you get my point? That it was better before the sprint race was linked to the race, because then I had a reason to watch it. That if he loses that race, or he doesn't perform correctly, he's going to be shit in the race. And on the sprint race, first, I respect Verstappen, even though he was acting like an absolute prick. I respect him for showing personality, that if he thinks something is wrong, he shows it. Even though he was acting like a prick, he called George dickhead and stuff. I don't know what out of like. I agree if someone who's driving carefully all the time says that you should give space, but Verstappen, the same guy who mounted Hamilton's car in Monza, the same guy who pushed Hamilton in Brazil, and the same guy who pushed Hamilton in Jeddah in Abu Dhabi. Like, how, like, it's ironic how Max Verstappen has the guts to say that to George. Obviously, I respect, again I'm saying, I respect his personality, that even though he's saying something wrong, he has the personality to say it and he won't shut up in the media. But he's absolutely wrong. It wasn't George Russell's fault, it's racing. He pushes him to the side. If his car gets damaged, it's just racing. It isn't anything that deep. Like, Verstappen was taking, like, Verstappen was acting like George Russell committed some war crime, and that it wasn't his fault. When you're going, I've raced in East, not in Eastport, I've raced with my friend. When you're in Azerbaijan and you're going side by side, there's a chance your car touches, and he's beside it. It is as much of his right as much as it is Verstappen's right, and he's inside, so obviously he has more right because he has to go inside. So that's why I don't think there was any reason to, like, uh, to to argue with George. Okay, moving on to the race. The race was also the best thing about, after the Max Verstappen fight and the Alonso Taylor Swift thing, was the Charles getting pole. I don't like Charles that much. I think he doesn't have the fire in him to win a championship, but getting pole and dominating in the qualifying was great. I like that. And Perez was sublime. He didn't even let Max gain at all. And when Max was first, Checo was gaining on him every time. Obviously, Max got unlucky, but it would have been entertaining watching Perez overtake Verstappen and win the race, because he almost caught up to him before the checkered no, not before the checkered flag. I mean before the safety car. But Max, it was a mistake by Red Bull that made Verstappen lose, but it's life. You can't do anything about it. It's funny how fast Max was, that Charles couldn't do anything. Like he was like DRS, DRS. Oh, there is a car beside me. Oh, it's Charles. Ah, it doesn't matter. Like it wasn't even a chance that Charles could defend him. Red Bull are, I mean, I won't. That isn't a problem, because every time when Mercedes was being dominant, everyone was saying that Mercedes isn't there, like it's ruining F1. In the same way, Red Bull also doing the same, but it's their genius. If you have a problem, as Horner said, if you have a problem, change your fucking car. So exactly, I agree with him. If you have problems, improve your car. it, it the other thing why I didn't watch it was because George wasn't there. Like it. The thing is that because the DRS zone was reduced, overtaking was so hard. The only thing that was great about reducing the DRS zone was it made overtaking for Red Bull a little bit harder. But overall, like Max was with Charles with a melon-sized hole in his car in the sprint race, and like it didn't do anything. If there was a DRS zone in a longer DRS zone, I think Hamilton would have overtaken Sainz, and maybe Alonso would have overtaken Charles, maybe, but we never know, because it was useless pushing, because after you push you are being like 0.8 seconds behind, and then you can't do anything. It was an equilibrium where all the way they were losing a little bit of time and Hamilton was gaining the time. Hamilton, anyone that dares was gaining time. So it didn't make sense why they reduced it and really ruined the race. I think that's it. I think for Miami, Verstappen will win again. I think Charles maybe will get pole. Maybe Perez wins it. If Perez wins it, it's going to be a little bit more interesting, because if Perez wins it, maybe Verstappen DNFs, maybe, God willing and stuff. So maybe if he DNFs, that's going to be interesting. I think that's it. Miami is going to be a bit more interesting because it's a closer track. Maybe Mercedes performs better, but we never know. So thank you for watching and goodbye.